late goals and set pieces. This is Hearts Standard. This is Hearts Standard. I'm Craig Kearns. That's Joel Sked. We're in a slightly different setting. We've just watched Livingston 1, Hearts 2. Another come from behind. I was going to say another come from behind win. I suppose another game where Hearts had to come from behind, and more late goals. Joel, what was your thoughts on that?
Just looking at the white shining of my really big shiny forehead. The thoughts on that were probably 80% delight and kind of euphoria. It was very close to giving it a proper celebration in the press box. Would have been very unprofessional. However, with just the coming from behind, late goals are brilliant, and just like that feeling and momentum it can build, and you see the reaction of the 6,500 Hearts fans. It's like moments like that, just like that's why you go to football, that's why you love it, that's why you enjoy it. Those are great. And then the fact that we're top of the league, at least for a little bit, depending on Old Firm game tomorrow on Sunday, and then you go into the international break on a positive 10 points in the first 12 available. Really good. And then there's, I was going to say, then the 20%, I would flip it 90-10, just because I'm an overly positive person, but 10%, just a wee bit kind of frustration, the fact that Hearts are having to come back from these positions.
Yeah,
it's really positive.
They're not always going to.
Yes, it's really positive that we are, and I'm just trying to think. That's 7 points, one from losing positions so far in the league. That's not really sustainable across.
And even the St Mirren game, they were behind and drew the 90 minutes.
Exactly. It's not sustainable across the whole season, but it's encouraging that there's that team spirit and there's ability to change things. But first half performance wasn't great. I thought it was solid to parts. Then you then concede a really cheap goal and you just lose your way completely. Derek McInnes is having to make another change, not just formation wise but personnel wise at half time. That's 8 changes at half time across the last 4 games. So it's really positive in the position Hearts are in, but there's still a long way to go in terms of in terms of the growth that within this and the consistency and the performance, 90-minute performance that can come with it.
I feel a wee bit out of sorts here without a microphone in my hands. The team selection, it's a wee bit of a difficult one because, as you said, Hearts actually played quite well until the goal, and then the Hearts completely lost their way after the goal. And then at half time you're thinking, okay, now Hearts need to change things, whereas if they hadn't conceded that goal, you feel like Hearts were slowly grinding away and were maybe going to create the chance, or maybe they looked more likely to score anyway. And then McInnes has spoken about getting his team the wrong way around against St Mirren. Like he started with Kyziridis and Kabori and the likes, and he's not got anything to bring off the bench afterwards. Does he need to find a bit more of a balance? Because you saw the difference when Kyziridis came off the bench.
Yeah, I think so. And I admit I was probably similar to a lot of Hearts fans. I've seen the lineup and I was a wee bit. You probably could have told. That's what I said. I was a wee bit despondent with it just because it wasn't a lineup that excited me. And then you still had the right back or right wing back situation. I think the problem with the right hand side issue is it magnifies in a back three because there's not a natural wing back. Whereas we've seen in the second half, Magnity I think is a capable right back. You can get away with. I
think you saw that at St Mirren as well.
St Mirren, as well. He settles and looks more comfortable there. As a wing back, he looks a bit more awkward. And then yes, Hearts were the better team until the goal, but we didn't really create enough in the final third. And I agree that it might have came, but it just felt too one pace, and it felt like you're watching the Hearts from last season.
Aye, no, definitely. And just add to what you're saying, I don't want to open up the midfield debate here, but the point we made in instant analysis is that when you play McEntee at right back has a knock-on effect in the midfield as well, and you can understand some Hearts fans looking at that midfield 3 and thinking, sign 9 players. Why still playing these guys? One of those new players. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, I'm just wanted to add this. I should add that having seen the team line up and then seen how Livingston set up, I could actually understand what McInnes has gone for, because they got 3 big guys, the really direct attack, and McInnes explained it afterwards that kind of got spooked by the St Mirren game, tried to integrate the new signings and play Kabori and Kyziridis wide and have that threat. and it didn't work, and they lost a lot of the second balls and those things that you need to win in Scottish football. So I could understand why he's come to Livingston and just go, right, let's kind of win the battle, win the second balls, and Hearts did that really well, as he said. However, it's exactly what you said, it's finding a balance, and I can understand why Hearts fans will turn around and go, why are we worried about what Livingston do? Hearts should be better. Hearts should just go to Livingston, play the kind of best 11 and play them off the park like they did for large periods in the second half. I can understand that point. It's just finding that really balanced.
It's not as easy as that though, is it though? Because he starts Kyziridis against St Mirren and he barely does anything and he's off at half time, but every time he comes on as a sub, now the game state's obviously different, so it's not as simple as just chucking in at the starting 11. That said, the way Hearts played, as soon as the second half kicked off, Kyziridis was running at players, beating men, winning fouls, winning corners. They scored from one within a few minutes, and until, I don't know, it was a good 15-20 minutes, the whole game was just going through Kyziridis.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously with again something that needs to be come into consideration with team selection, we don't see what happens Monday to Friday in training,
knocks
and stuff. So
exactly.
we don't see what happens behind closed doors. But you see Kyziridis when he gets the ball. As a fan, you're just really excited, and everything he did was really positive. It was sharp, and I think Shankland really enjoyed playing with him because he was shifting it, and it was one touch. And there was one moment that really encouraged me was when, and he didn't really do anything, but it just seems so simple when I'm going to say it out. But it was on the touchline, and he was surrounded by maybe a couple of Livingston players, and you've seen Hearts players in the past. I'll just go back and play it to the centre back or the full back. He just drives and
tried to fight his way through.
He just drives and
fight. Was that when it broke to Benny? Benny took over?
Yeah, so he skipped past. And, it was the other one when he skipped past the three and he just shifted it to like a simple pass out wide, but it opened the game up. And it's just that those positive moments, you're like, that's brilliant. And then on top of putting Livingston on the back foot, driving at players, winning corners, putting crosses in the box as he did for Claudio Braga's goal, and then, as you've seen, why he prefers the left hand side, and it's the type of goal he scored, I think, a lot in Slovakia, where it just came to him on the right, on his favoured foot, and he just finds that bottom corner. And going back to being in Spain and speaking to some of the guys at Hearts, that's a finish that he always looked for. Opened the body up, and he was like that. It was so precise.
It was unbelievable. It was one of those ones that you aim wide and curl. You know what I mean? It looked like when he first hit it that it wasn't on target, and it was the only way he was getting it out the reach of the keeper as well. It was an absolutely fantastic finish,
and a good keeper as well.
A good keeper, and that late in the game. To show that composure as well, it's in front of that many people. It was an incredible second half from Kyziridis. Man of the match for my money, despite only being on the pitch for 45 minutes. Another player that came on and impressed was Ageu. Ageu. It sounds like Baggio without the B, but with more of a U than an O at the end. I've overcomplicated. Ageu. He just. I turned to you at one point and just said, this guy is like an intelligent footballer. There's one point where he let the ball run across him. He didn't even touch the ball and he took out the Livingston midfield.
And I'll repeat a word that Derek McInnes said, smooth. Everything he did was so smooth, and just like, okay, he's a really good football player. And again, if anyone who listens to football cliches, Derek McInnes referring to him as a Rolls-Royce, and he is that.
I think you submit that. No, wait, that's a correct use of job. They probably won't talk about it.
That's exactly what a Rolls-Royce in this context should be used for, because you see that he played off the left, and you're just immediately thinking he record signing coming on playing out, not he's in his natural position, but he had an impact. You can see why he's going to bring a goal threat. My biggest encouragement was the run over the top, which ended with Braga missing the sitter, which thankfully didn't matter in the end. But the run, the spot off the pass, I think it was Shankland, and it's really encouraging. I just think he is going to elevate the Hearts midfield, and the fact is sometimes managers will play down a new signing or play down an early impact. McInnes did the opposite. He played them up. This guy is going to be really good. So
even when he dropped it at the midfield too, there was one point where he was dropping back as deep as the centre backs to get the ball, and he was still, even there was a guy on his shoulder, and he was still like, give me the ball. We need to wrap up pretty soon. quick mention for the fans. Haven't spoken about Braga. Is there any other business you want to kind of chuck in before we go?
6,500 Hearts fans. It was brilliant. The noise was deafening.
Even winning corners, it was like the noise was incredible.
It was brilliant. It just shows you when the Hearts fans are everyone's together behind the team. It makes such a difference.
They need something to give them that spark as well.
They do that just because they needed some Braga. It's fine. Braga was brilliant in the game. I think Shanklin, there were a lot of probably comments about not scoring, but he was involved in a few bits and bobs. Sets up a goal, sets up chances. There's a goalkeeping decision that needs to be made after the international break. Xander Clark looked at fault. Not fully at fault. There was a number of players who were partly at fault for the goal, but it was another one where everyone's like, he should have saved that. And I think his expression showed that he should have saved that. Or
maybe just the fact that it's the first shot and he's conceded. If it's not that he feels he's at fault, it's like one shot and they've scored kind of thing.
So that'll get I think that'll get rectified before they close the transfer window in terms of a goalkeeper potentially coming in, and it just looks, his confidence looks a wee bit shot. So do we finish there? Top of the league?
We will. Top of the league, at least temporarily. We'll wrap up there. I'll do a quick outro because we need to get out of here. Please check everything out at heartstandard.co.uk. Subscribe if you haven't already. I've linked a few articles down there, and we will see you all soon.